Hello everyone. Hope everyone is fine. So today we'll be continuing with the TypeScript tutorial. So in the last video we learned about what is TypeScript, features of it, environmental setup, and we also saw how we can write a Hello World program in both console and web. So let's continue with the tutorial and learn more on basics of TypeScript. So if you have liked the earlier video, then do comment, share, and subscribe the video. Subscribe the channel too for the daily updates. So let's start. So today we'll be starting with data types in TypeScript. So the TypeScript language supports different types of values. It provides data types for the JavaScript to transform it into strongly typed programming language. So JavaScript doesn't support any data types. You may be knowing if you have learned a little bit of JavaScript. So, but with the help of TypeScript, we can use the data types feature in JavaScript. So TypeScript plays an important role when the object-oriented programmer wants to use the data type feature in any scripting language. So TypeScript provides data types as an optional type system. We can classify it into different types. So as you can see in the screen, there are static, generics, and decorators. So what are static types? So static types mean at compile time or without running a program. In a statically typed language, variables, parameters, and objects have types that the compiler knows at the compile time. Static types can be further divided into two subcategories: built-in, or also said as primitive types, and user-defined data types. So generics, what are generics? So generics means parameterized types. So the idea is to allow type, or maybe integer, string, or etc., or any user-defined types, to be a parameter to the methods, classes, and interfaces. Using generics, it is possible to create classes that work with different data types. So we will look into in the further videos when we learn Angular 2. In Angular also we use generics, so for the reusable of the components. So third are the decorators. So decorators are basically a special kind of declaration that can be applied to classes, methods, accessor, property, or parameter. Decorators are simply functions that are prefixed and can be declared in at the rate expression symbol. So moving on further, let's see the built-in types. So built-in types can be further divided into five different subtypes, which are number, void, string, null, and boolean. Let's see one by one. So just like JavaScript, TypeScript supports number data type. All numbers are stored as floating point numbers. These numbers can be decimal, which is base 10, or hexadecimal, base 16, or octal, base 6, 8. So in this slide, you can see we have declared a first variable, which is a number, which is equal to the 1, 2, 3, which stores a positive integer as a number. Then we have declared second as variable, which is also a number, but in that we have declared as 0x37cf, which stores a hexadecimal number, which is equivalent to 14287. When you print this number on your browser's console, it prints the equivalent floating point of the hexadecimal number, and and in the third number you can see we have stored an octal number which is equivalent to 255, and in the fourth, similar to above, we have declaring a binary number. So there are different methods of numbers data types, starting with so we are showing some of few of the methods which are available in TypeScript. So first is to exponential. So it returns the exponential notation of a number in string format based on the specified fraction digits. Second is toFixed, which returns the fixed point notation of a number in a string format. Third is toLocal string, which converts the number into a local specific representation of a number. Next is toPrecision, which returns the string representation in exponential or fixed point to the specific precision. Next is toString, which returns a string representation of the number in the specified base. And last is the value of, which returns the primitive value of the number. So you can use these methods in your functions and try with so the description is as seen in the slide. Let's move to the strings. So like JavaScript, TypeScript uses double quotes or single quotes to surround string literals. It also supports template strings that use the backtick to surround characters. So I have given the example. So there is a first name string which is declared in single quotes, and there is a web developer which is declared in double quotes. And just below that, there is a backtick description which is declared. So there are different string methods also available, which may be char, add, concat, replace, split, etc., etc. You can check in the web the other methods too. So next is the boolean. So the string and the numeric data type can have an unlimited number of different values, whereas the Boolean data type can have only two values. They are either true or false. A Boolean value is a truth value which specifies whether the condition is true or not. So in a real life example, if I am developing any application and I need to set a flag based on to show or like hide or show any table or any data should come or not in the specific scenario, that can be done using boolean. Next is void. So void is a return type of the function which do not return any type of value. It is a variable of type void. It's not useful because we only assign undefined or null to them. But there these are some but there are some conditions where we used void. You can check in the angular when we declare any function or we need to subscribe anything, we use void. So these are some built-in static types. So let's look into other types optional which are available in TypeScript. So let's start with the arrays. So array is an ordered list of data. It's a collection of elements of the same data type as we have learned in every books or every languages. So like JavaScript, TypeScript also allows us to work with array of values. TypeScript supports arrays similar to JavaScript. There are two ways to declare an array. First is using the square brackets. So this method is similar to how you declare arrays in JavaScript. Second is using a generic array type like array in in the bracket element type. So in the example you can see we have declared a single array and we have a multiple array. So let's see on the important data type available in TypeScript. The any data type. So any data type is newly introduced in TypeScript. So any data type is a super type of all types in TypeScript. You can see in the image, it's above the built-in and the user-defined types. So sometimes you may need to store a value in a variable, but you don't know its type at the time of writing the program. and the unknown value may come to the third party API or user input. In this case, you want to opt out of the type checking and allow the value to pass through the compile time check. So how can it be done? So to do so, you use the anytype. This anytype allows you to assign a value of any type of the variable. So there is an example shown in the right hand side on how we declare any to any variable. So let's check on the important versus part, which is where versus let. So when you give an interview of any front-end languages or JavaScript or Angular, this is the common question asked by the interviewer. What is the difference between where and let? So where basically is a keyword introduced with JavaScript, and let, as I told, it's introduced in TypeScript. Using where, we can use it as a global scope, but let, it is limited to the block scope. Where can be declared globally and can be accessed globally, but let can be declared globally but cannot be accessed globally. There is an example for where and let, which will be seeing how it is different in the next slide. So the where statement is used to declare a variable in JavaScript. A variable declared with the where keyword is defined throughout the program, but the let statement is used to declare a local variable in TypeScript. It is like the where keyword, but it is some restrictions in scoping in comparison of the where keyword. So you can see the example for let and where. So there is a difference. The way of writing is same in both, but in one we have used where and in the other we have used let. So you can see the output too. When we use let, there is a compile error which shows greeter is not defined. You can also try it in web and check. So next biggest question asked by the interviewer is, what is the difference between null and undefined? So null is used to represent an intentional absence of value. It represents a variable whose value is undefined. It accepts only one value, which is null. So null versus defined is the topic which is discussed in most forums too. And if you will look at any company's interview questions, this question you will always find in in the question panel. So difference between null and undefined. How exactly is different? So null, it is an assignment value. It can be only assigned to a variable which indicates that a variable does not point to any object. But undefined, it's not an assignment value. It is a variable that has been declared but not yet been assigned to a value. Null is an object, but undefined is a type in itself. Null value is a primitive value which can represent the null, empty, or non existent reference, as I said. But undefined value is a primitive value which is used when a variable has not been assigned a value. Null indicates the absence of value of a variable, but undefined indicates the absence of a variable itself. Importantly, null can be converted to zero while performing primitive operations, but undefined is converted to NaN, not a number, while performing primitive operations. So, this is the example of null and undefined, where we have declared a variable a which is null, and we have console logged it so to see the output what comes, and we have also console logged a type of a. So we are declaring what type of a null value it comes. So you can see it is null and object. Whereas when we define a as undefined and we use the console log as type of a, we get a error. Okay, thank you for everyone. So this completes another basic tutorial of TypeScript. So today we learned some few important questions like where versus let and null versus undefined. So in next video we will be looking into loops and much more. Hope you liked the video. Do like, comment and share video. Subscribe to the channel for updates. Thank you.